Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And once again, this is the one-day chart. We're sitting here at $2.13. It's nice to see XRP back above $2 again. And the 7-day chart looks really good for XRP. I'm just hoping this week is better than last week. I just want a week where we don't have a major crash on the price of Bitcoin. Because when Bitcoin crashes, it takes the rest of the market with it. I just want a week where we could finally start moving upward, and hopefully we get a lot of big news this week. Hopefully they finally announce at the SEC that the Ripple vs. SEC case is over. I know there's a lot of speculation around that. Maybe the ETFs get approved. I just want something to happen because I cannot wait until XRP starts achieving a new all-time high. That's what I've been waiting for. Everybody keeps saying, alt season begins in December, alt season begins in January, and so on. Here we are now in April, and April's usually a very good month for XRP anyway. Let's get it moving already. That's what I want to see happen. XRP avoids major bearish signal hitting important price levels. The charters are talking about this right now. They're saying we avoided a mini death cross and now we could go on to higher price points. But again, even the people that do the charts, a lot of times they get it wrong. But hey, if we avoided a death cross, I'm all for it. Now let's move up in price on XRP. Tukrium, CEO, I like XRP and it will be used as a tool in the future to move money. There's enough XRP out there and the system is already built. This comes from Smoke. Take a listen to this clip.
And so I like crypto. We didn't really do much with Ether. I happen to really be an XRP fan. I think that it has a good use case. I think it's very legitimate. I think that they're smart people, and I like the asset. And so when we realized crypto, there was going to be a more let's say friendly atmosphere toward crypto by the new SEC. We got to work, filed as soon as the new SEC came, as soon as the old SEC was out of power. Let's put it that way. And the 75 days went by. And we launched as soon as we possibly could, and it was a very good process. It was tough to do. We got excellent tickers, and we're here, and we're happy.
Bitcoin is a store of value, and you were just alluding to what Ripple's doing. But how do you like to explain what XRP is, just at a basic level?
So it may or may not be a proper explanation, but what I tell people is that it is it's going to be used as a tool. It's a tool that's going to be used to expedite the movement of assets, primarily money, around the world almost instantaneously. They've built out the platform and the system. There are enough XRP out there and around. They have a very good dissemination plan. Everything is going to be better regulated, well regulated. It's willing to be regulated. They want to be regulated, and we've got hopefully an administration which appears to be very crypto friendly, and we're very glad about that. So I think XRP's use case is primarily the movement of money and assets around pretty quickly.
And that's the way I always looked at XRP as well. You know, I talked about all the rails that got put in place, and it's been going on for a decade. When I started this channel, I started talking about the expansion of Ripple, where they were moving into, which countries. And let me tell you something, everything expanded at a very alarming rate all throughout the bear market. That shows you the strength of Ripple. And while they were still tied up with the SEC here in the United States, they were building everywhere outside of the United States. It's going to be a very exciting time when XRP finally goes live on all of those rails. Anybody holding XRP is going to make a shit ton of money. Breaking, Uphold surpasses Ripple. Uphold becomes the largest XRP holder. reveals over 2 billion XRP in balance, worth $3.7 billion. And that doesn't surprise me. The one thing about Uphold is I think they are fully backed. Like, in other words, they have all the XRP they claim to have on their balance sheet. Coinbase, I'm worried more about because I think they allow, like, they probably sell that XRP 2 or 3 times. I'm not saying that's definitely happening, but we've seen that with other exchanges in the past. I think Uphold's very safe, but there's a lot of exchanges out there that aren't. And if there was ever a big problem, like in other words, a bank run on XRP, most likely that exchange is going to go down. We've seen it with Coinbase multiple times when Bitcoin was achieving all-time high after all-time high. But I did a video and I was talking about cashing out. And I think a lot of people didn't understand what I meant. So I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that is false. You can sell as much as you want. The withdrawal to a bank is a whole different other story. That part you're off, as well with the limits. I've contacted them some time ago to make sure. Here are some screenshots to help others in the future. And I'm going to show you these screenshots. This is your daily limits. Now, you could sell all of your XRP. It's the part where you're moving the actual money out of Uphold to your bank account. That's where there's a lot of limits. Some exchanges, the limits are different. Other exchanges allow you unlimited money transfers. But then you also got the problems at your local bank. You definitely have to inform them if you're going to be moving a lot of money from an exchange to a bank account, because the bank is automatically going to throw a red flag. And if you don't notify them ahead of time, there's a good chance that your money could get locked up for 30 days before the bank releases it. But you could absolutely sell your XRP. And I think it comes down to liquidity. I think they limit that at a lot of exchanges because they don't want all that liquidity leaving the exchange at a fast rate. In other words, say 100 people sold XRP and they cashed out $1 million each. And all those people wanted to move all of that value off the exchange over the course of like a couple of hours. That would be a problem. And that's most likely why these limits are set up. Is buying XRP a way to become an XRP millionaire? Expert shares 2 simple strategies to becoming an XRP millionaire. Now, I'm usually not a fan of these articles because these articles are stupid. What they're telling you is just buy more XRP over time. Then they say the power of time. In other words, we know XRP is going to go up over time, but you got to stay patient until it happens. Then they have a bonus tip, swing trading for extra profits. If you're not familiar with trading XRP, I don't suggest you start trading XRP. You always see the success stories, but for every success story, there's a lot of failures out there as well. People that sold at one price and tried to buy back in at a cheaper price. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And we all know XRP is definitely going to go up in value. We're all waiting for alt season to begin. We're waiting for some big catalyst that sends XRP right now. But until it happens, you buy more XRP. This way you have no regrets later. You know what you could afford though. Don't listen to these people. You need to hold X amount of XRP if you want to become a millionaire, because you could build that wealth over time. You could get it through passive income. Now, during alt season, you know, if you're holding other cryptocurrencies, I would absolutely sell off some of those cryptocurrencies unless they're part of ISO. In other words, if they're the handful of utility-driven cryptocurrencies I talk about all the time, like QNT, HBAR, XDC, XLM, and so on, maybe take a little bit of profit, but I would never sell my entire bag of any of those cryptocurrencies. I just think there's a lot of upside potential out there that a lot of people are overlooking. I mean, ISO, we really don't know how big the impact is going to be yet. I'll talk more about ISO in another video for later today, because I have some updates that I want to give you about ISO. But you buy whatever you could afford to lose, and you sit back, you stay patient, and you just wait for a XRP to break out. And then when it does break out, you could take some profit. There's nothing wrong with that. But just never sell your entire bag, because if you do, I think you're going to regret it later. Expert says U.S. Treasuries to control liquidity within the XRP ecosystem. Here's how. And this was Black Swan Capitalist that said this. So he's asserting that the U.S. Treasury is actively collaborating with Ripple to utilize the RLUSD stablecoin as part of a broader strategy to enhance the global footprint of the digital dollar. This initiative also supports new demand for U.S. Treasuries. It's a method to manage liquidity within the XRP ledger ecosystem. I think he's most likely right about that. I think the whole fact that Ripple was meeting with Donald Trump before Donald Trump even became the president, I think they were most likely talking about moving away from a central bank digital currency. Maybe President Trump said to Ripple, hey, what's my option other than a central bank digital currency? And most likely Brad talked to him about a stablecoin like RLUSD. It could still work as the digital dollar. But what Black Swan Capitalist is thinking is that this is going to be a liquidity driver for XRP. And that could very well happen. But it's too early to call it yet, in my opinion. I think he's 100% right. RLUSD is going to be the digital dollar. But I think it's too early to say how much liquidity is going to come to XRP from that. Ripple, the most private public operation ever deployed. This comes from 589 Bull, and I thought this was a great post. You thought it was just another crypto company. Ripple isn't a startup, it's a deployment. No other digital asset has a CTO who worked on classified NSA systems. David Schwartz said he has NDAs. He can't even talk about what he fully worked on at the NSA. A coin, XRP, that was pre-existing before the company was even formed. Then it was built in compliance hooks before regulators even showed up. ISO 222 alignment before anyone else even knew what it meant. Partnerships with central banks, BIS, IMF, and the U.S. Treasury. Oh, and while the SEC pretended to sue them, they went global. Signed new nations, expanded liquidity corridors. That's not how real lawsuits go. That's how stress tests look. Ripple isn't playing the game. Ripple was built by the rulebook writers, not a protocol, not a Ponzi, a weaponized bridge. Now, I would not call XRP a weaponized bridge. I think XRP was built to serve the entire planet. I think it's great because if a country wants to send a country that they don't get along with any type of value or money, it can be done through XRP using XRP as a trust layer. That's what XRP is built to do. The one thing I always found strange about Ripple and XRP, the partnerships with the central banks, the BIS, the IMF, and the U.S. Treasury, they go back years. Even the ties to the Fed go back years. How did that all happen? Like, how did one day, all of a sudden, Ripple, Brad gets a seat at all of these tables. Now, we know the technology is game changing, but I always said we are investing with the elites. The elites are sitting Brad at those tables. They're making sure that everyone knows what the future is. And the future is absolutely XRP. I mean, all the rails tell you all you need to know. A firm processing $3 trillion annually is now routing it all through the XRP ledger. Bitcoin Maxi's reaction says it all. Fake it till you make it. Nah, they just made it. Boom. You know what happened? The Bitcoin Maxis, they live in denial. They don't want to believe that anything big is going to happen for XRP. They think it's a shitcoin. They don't think anything's going to happen with the banks. They don't think anything's ever going to happen with CBDC. Now, a $3 trillion annual company is in the hands of Ripple. And all that value is going to run through the XRP ledger. And I think a lot of them are now in shock. But, you know, it was never Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the test coin for the real deal. XRP is the real deal. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm hoping this week is better than last week. Hopefully, we don't see major dumps all throughout this coming week, leading into Easter. Usually this week is a decent week for XRP, but anything can change that. I mean, any real world event that happens right now can change things very fast. Let's hope it's a nice, peaceful week with upward movement on the price of XRP. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.